Place up, mate. Are we rolling, Ron?
We are rolling, sir.
We are rolling. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the People Like Us podcast. Today, we're joined by a friend of the show, and the man that needs no introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Paul Hope. Thank you for talking to people like us. What's going on in your life, Paul?
Fifth appearance, Dan.
Fifth.
Yes. I'm in that level, Anna. I'm
Fifth.
with Rob. I'm with Chris.
How many people have been on 5 times?
Beyond me, mate. I've only been here since last September.
Do you know, I was thinking about this the other day. I think we're coming up to 3 years.
We are. Yeah.
I said the first episode of People Like Us that I watched was with your friend Pio. And I had mutual friends with Pio. And I think I said, doing the content creating, I was trying to broaden my horizons of not just watching NFL stuff. I wanted to absorb the content, and I don't know how you two feel, but my missus always feels that podcasting's a very male dominated. She doesn't watch podcasts as a rule.
No.
She'll stick Netflix on, but for me, I'll stick a podcast on.
Sausage Fest. Podcast at Sausage Fest.
Yeah.
So she feels a little bit like preparing today. Do I want to talk to you again? I'm like, yes, Tracy, I've been invited on again. But 6 months since I was last here.
6 months.
Is that how long it's been?
Yeah.
Jesus.
Frightening, that, innit?
Yeah.
Frightening.
But if you work it out, there's 52 weeks in the year, is that right? And this will be episode 149. So we're like...
Yeah, because with there being the 49ers, I did think you were trying that connection in.
Is that what it is?
So obviously,
that's not even planned. That's just fate.
Happy accident.
Yeah.
You're still increasing your subs. I know everyone watching likes that update. So you're up to 492 subs now.
Right.
And ironically, you had 666 videos when I checked this morning. For those people who might be with numbers, I thought. So when my first appearance was, I want to say April 24, it was a couple of years ago, you only had 73 subs and it was 123 videos. And I know we've talked about you're just enjoying the journey and you're not looking at those metrics anymore. But it just goes to show that, you know, people are watching, people are subscribing, and yeah, the big news since I was last here, I sent Ron some stuff hastily this morning. So the NFL season finished. My beloved 49ers did not win the Super Bowl.
Were they in the Super Bowl?
They were not. So the Super Bowl was at San Francisco 49ers Stadium.
Chew. And they weren't in it?
And they weren't in it.
Oh, chew.
And our biggest rivals won the Super Bowl. So I'll get that out the way. I do not want to talk anymore about it. However, my team... We had horrific injuries last year, and with American sports, I'm not sure if you're aware, it's all about getting into the playoffs. So the Niners limped into the playoffs. We were battered, bruised, injury, and we played the defending champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, on the road in Philadelphia. We weren't the favourite to win it, but because it was such a quick turnaround from the season ending to that happening, the Niners reached out to me and Lee. And we're like, can you chaps host a watch party for us in Leeds? So I've sent Ron some of the footage, which he'd be hopefully putting up on the screen. So what that meant, Dan, was me and Lee, said before, 2 divvies in the northeast, travelled down to the Box Sports Bar in Leeds.
Right.
Sunday night, cold January, there was about 50, 60.
Is that this year here?
Yeah. So that was the idiot jumping in the screen was me. So the 49ers, again, showing the trust that we've got with our fan group, they basically, you know, they book the bar, they let Sky Sports know, they send a film crew down, and basically the nervousness for the Niners is every time we've had a watch party of any magnitude, the Niners tend to lose. So I don't like to be superstitious about a curse.
Bastards.
However, on this one, we won. And the footage that they got of us there, that's us just in a sports bar, watching our team play, and the footage went viral. You know, the 49ers were sharing it. They've got like 2.3 million followers. So they share anything of theirs. So my phone blew up. But it just goes to show where we were. You know, 2022, the Niners reached out to us as a Facebook group and said, all right, Paul and Lee, we've got the UK marketing rights. What can we do for you? to fast forward to where they're literally trusting us. So we were representing the Niners.
And this is coming direct from them.
So that brings a bit of pressure. So on the night, we're the face of the organisation. You know, we're welcoming everyone in. And it was awesome. I mean, there was an amazing trick play, which I won't bother people who like NFL. And Sky Sports showed the footage. And that was generally just us in a sports bar, unaware, similar to when you do these things, that the camera was there. So when I first arrived, I was very conscious that there was a guy there with a camera. And then you relax into it and you're watching the game. And it just shows that they've got that link with us. So that was the highlight of the season. And then after we won that one, we went to Seattle, our biggest rivals, and they absolutely tanked us. And then they went on to win the Super Bowl in our home stadium.
Well, at least you were beaten by the best. Look at it that way. You're beaten by the winners.
Yeah, but it's hard to admit that they're the best when it's your rivals.
I've always said that. If we're gonna get if England are gonna get kicked out of the World Cup, for example, the only time that it's acceptable is if you got beat by the eventual winners, in my opinion. If that happened, like let's say we got knocked out by. No, I'm not even going to say that because that's sacrilege.
Don't be jinxing it. Don't be putting it out there.
But let's just say we got beat by and even a not a great team, but that not great team went on to win the whole thing. Then it's acceptable. But if they don't win, then that's not acceptable.
Yeah,
not acceptable. Do you know with these 49ers? I don't get. I think they're missing a trick. So if the 49ers faithful, no, that's yous.
Yeah,
if the
we're the
49ers are listening, then this is my business idea for yous. What you want to be doing is you want to be getting the Pauls and the Lees of the UK, because let's be honest, there isn't a massive audience for this sport in this country, but I believe there could be. But I believe it's out of reach for a lot of people. I think you have to do your own homework to get into it, sort of thing. It's not, I can't turn the telly on a Saturday and watch it. You know, you've got to have specific things.
Yeah.
And I think a long-term 10-year business strategy for the 49ers should be to whack the Pauls and Lees, there might be others, of England on the payroll, right? They say, right, you work for us now, right? There's your 30, 40 grand a year, right, you're working for us. Your job is to drum up interest, is to drum up through social media networking, through events, through whatever, make tag sports, stuff like this. You know, you could have a whole thing going, but it all be 49ers branded. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you talk about this tag football that goes on. Well, what if there was a 49ers academy? I know it seems silly now, but like...
So the Niners own Leeds United. I mentioned that before. So they have invested. So flag football is a growing sport. I know I've touched upon it a few times on here. It's going to be in the Olympics. I dabbled in it. So in 22, I decided to try and play it myself. Ruptured my Achilles tendon and broke a finger.
Of course you did.
Then I went back 6 months later, played a full season, and thought, right, I've ticked the box. Played a season, scored some touchdowns, got some footage, made some friends. And then this year, there's a new team on Teesside, and I'd seen the stuff on social media. I thought, right, I'm going to go down. So I went down about 2 months ago, first session, the most exercise I've done in a long time. And I thought, I'm back. Announced it on social media. I was going to order the jersey. Went to my second session and went to do like just a warm-up run. And I felt the sharpest pain I've ever felt in my quad. And I thought, do you know what, Dan? 10 years ago, I'd have pushed through it. Nah, I had to stop. And then I've had to have a hard look in the mirror and think, do you know what, Paul? You've had, you're 45, soon to be 46, and Tracy hates me talking my age, but as much as I love the sport of flag football and I've dabbled in the coaching, I'm just going to have to be a supporter now. And I need to get myself back in the gym. And I need to get fit. And I need to... So world exclusive, I've closed that chapter on competitive sport.
That's done now.
Yeah, so to circle back to what you're saying, the Niners are investing in grassroots. They've done flag football tournaments in Leeds. I know the NFL UK, that's something that they're growing, because you're right in what you're saying. They want to grow the sport in the UK. They've got to get the younger audience.
And they need representatives. Like, if I ask you now, apart take out Leeds United, because people who work for Leeds, you can't say they work for the 49ers, they work for Leeds United. It just so happens that that company owns that company. Is there people based in the United Kingdom today, as we speak, that are on the 49ers payroll? Well, that's backward. They should have representatives. If you can take the sport of football, soccer, to the Americans, if you can make that isn't... You go to any bloody territory on this planet and you show them what a football is, they'll know how to play. They know how to play that game. We kick ball in net. That's the idea.
Yeah.
But American football, I don't know the rules. I actually don't know the rules of American football. I couldn't tell you what you can and can't do. I know what they do. They throw it, they grab it, they run, they smash into each other. But I don't know when the whistle blows and this happens. It's like same as rugby. I watch it and I don't really fucking know what's going on. But they're missing a trick. They should be having, and I think you and Lee would be the UK ones because I can't think there's anybody else.
I think they might be heading that way. I mean,
they should, man. They're missing a trick. It could be international. It could be an international sport. So it could be.
Do you think it should be like done in PE in schools?
Flag football, I mean, again, that might be controversial here. So the British American football, so that's your Sunday morning kind of pub league. You know, there is contact football in England. The universities are trying to get into it. I just think with it being such a violent contact sport, you've got to be careful. I mean, Darlington Steams, who I was coaching for, they're really pushing to get grassroots, and they've had a couple of injuries with the kids. And you know, I'm thankful as a girl dad. I don't have that decision to make. But if I was sat here now and Jasmine wanted to go and play contact football, I'd be wary. But if you wanted to go play flag football, more than happy. In the flag football, the best bits for me as someone who's played it is you've got the bit of the running, the catching, the nuances of the game without the risk of, you know, being smashed by someone. However, flag football is a non-contact sport. The amount of injuries I have playing flag football because you've got, it's like five-a-side basically. So you've got 5 on offence, 5 on defence, and then the ball gets snapped and you've got 10 people running around. So if Dan's marking me as a defender, I've got to run and get past him. So Dan's going to follow me. You might be following your man, and there's a lot of collision, but it's an exciting sport to watch, which at the next Olympics, I think it might explode. You know, I'm one of those people, I'll watch Olympic sports. I don't know what the gymnastics do, but I'll watch it. The athletics, you know. So when it comes around, I think they might be going that way because our link at the Niners is the international marketing team. So they do have a set team that look after us. So again, for the people who are watching, like your man, Kyle Shanahan isn't picking up the phone as the manager of the 49ers saying, all right, Paul. However, the links with the team, I'm still blown away.
Yeah.
I mean, they flew Lee out to Pittsburgh recently for the NFL draft. They did extend that invite to myself. I was unable to go, but seeing what they did for Lee. So they sent Lee to Pittsburgh, flights, hotels. They did a quick promo video. So they are investing, but you're right, to take it to that next level, it might be something that they've got.
Can you see that, like, even in the 3 years that I've known you by coming in here and stuff, I've seen, like 3 years ago, you weren't where you are now with them. There wasn't that relationship. And you know, you can't, I mean, I remember, I think it was a year ago or 6 months ago, I forget, we have that many podcasts, where you were like, I don't know, you were a bit and ahhing about it a little bit, and you were thinking about, should I fuck this off? And like, I think, mate, you just hang about, and I think you just hang about a little bit and stick around and keep playing the game, and you never fucking. I get a feeling that in the end, I'll be speaking to you. It might be years from now, it might be a podcast like this in years from now, and you saying, "Well, you beggar, I work for the 49ers."
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that because in preparation for today, I went back and reviewed my last episode, and you're right. When I came here 6 months ago, promotion at work, we had a nightmare with a house. You know,
you're having a right chew.
And I was, and doing the podcast, like you know yourself, being a content creator, you know, booking the guests in, doing the research, editing, prepping, and it is a hobby. It's not my day job.
No.
And you did fire that spark upon me after I left here, and I went back, and I jumped back into it, and I look back at the content we were creating, and YouTube's been massive for the 49er Faithful UK because we were an audio-only podcast, really. Go back 5 years ago. We were targeting the members in the group who were sticking their headphones in, taking the dog for a walk, driving to work. And Lee, who runs the group, he's a perfectionist. So when he put a podcast out, Dan, he was editing it. I mean, it's daft things like, you know, I'm a fidgeter, as you can see. Lee has bought me a microphone where I don't have to touch it. I'm not allowed to on the table. I'm not allowed to do the M's, the R's, he was very much, right, lads, this week we need to do this on the podcast. But because he's got busy in his personal life as well, the YouTube for us, like tonight we'll go live at 8 o'clock. Bang, press live record. We go live, talk for an hour, and record. The downside of that is we're not putting them out as a podcast. So some of our fans who listen to audio-only podcasts on Spotify and all the rest of it, they're a little bit frustrated because we've more moved to YouTube only, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that suits me as well. I think when you watch what I do, and I'm very energetic and I move around a little bit, and it's crazy when we used to do the audio only podcasts. We used to do it on Skype without a camera.
Wow!
So there'd be four of us. You'd be sat at home with your headphones on, and you'd be waiting for your time to speak. Where I always find when you're speaking to someone now, like a conversation, you read off each other's cues, you know when to naturally interrupt. And when I go back 5 years ago, I listen to some of our earlier stuff.
Bruce Lethal.
Well, you're talking over each other. There's like someone else goes to talk and you're like, and you think, oh.
Yeah.
But people stuck with us.
Yeah, you drop the, you go on, mate. Yeah, you go. I'll talk after.
So then we progressed onto YouTube. And again, I looked at our numbers this morning. We're still, and I don't mean this to sound in a bad way, we're at 1.2 thousand subscribers on YouTube. Which, given we do it as a hobby, we don't have any of the marketing equipment, we don't do the reels, we literally, in season, which is September to February, we'll do a preview of the game, then we'll watch the game on a Sunday night, and then we'll do a review of the game. And Tracy says to me, why do people want to listen to what you've got to say? But I think, as you said, being in the UK, if you're a Newcastle fan, you're going to go and watch, Alan Shearer and Gary Lineker and Micah Richards talk about it. But we don't have that in the UK. Mm-mm. So people are tuning into what we want to say because I think they want to think, right, am I agreeing with what Paul's saying or what Lee's saying?
Mm. Well, I believe that sport could be big in our country. I believe we like our sports to be exciting, and we like them to be violent. That's why boxing's so big. That's why UFC got so big. Maybe not so much here, but it is a massive international sport. It came from nowhere. Mate, there's things on the telly now, slap fights. We do like violence. It's in us. We like things like that. And, if rugby can make it, rugby's huge in our country. Obviously not internationally particularly, but it's big in our country.
Yeah.
There's no reason that all American football can't be. It's just hasn't been pushed enough. Like you go to some, Ponzi school down south somewhere, they're playing rugby. Like they're playing rugby and PE. They're not playing American football. And that should be introduced and trialed. And I believe it could be. So I don't think American football will ever be as big as football in our country.
I agree with that as an NFL fan.
Not in this country, because that's just our heritage. That's just just like football will never be as big as American football in America. I don't think.
No, I agree with that as well. It's too ingrained in them grassroots. But the other problem you've got with growing like the sport of flag football, I was coaching last year for Darlington Steam. And, we were coaching under 14s. And literally we were the only team. So there was us in Darlington. There was a team in Newcastle. There was a team in Burnley. There was a team in Salford. So what you had to do is you had to coordinate one day where all of you's travelled. So we might have travelled down to Salford, 2.5 hours, 3 hours in the car. And when we were getting there, our kids were very new. We say under 14s, it was literally from 10 to 14. And we were going against like kids from Manchester who were, upper end 14. We were getting absolutely smashed. And again, at that level of sport, losing's no fun.
No.
And you're competing, as you've said rightly, if you went to America and you went to a high school in America and you rock up with your, mitre under your arm and you want to arrange a kickabout, not many American lads are going to be playing. They're playing NFL, basketball,
baseball,
ice hockey, baseball.
Yeah.
Your soccer, as I call it, it's low down.
But you fast forward back 20 years, right? And you look at what it is now. We'll call it, I hate using the phrase, but we'll call it soccer just so we can identify the two. Soccer's massive in the United States now. You've got Lionel Messi playing for the United States team, like the best footballer in the world plays in America. Where I'm going with it is like MLS, it's what it's called, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, MLS, that's the American Soccer League, has boomed. It's massive now. There's big names playing. Luis Suarez too, right?
Yeah.
Oh, great players. And I believe that a similar thing should happen in this country. I think there should be teams. I think there should be, for Manchester United, but American football. I think there should be Arsenal, but American football. Don't have to call them the same names, obviously. It could be called, the London Legends. They'd be called they're
things
trying.
Like that. I mean, they've launched a European League of Football, and there is, I think, the London Warriors, and it's kind of semi-pro. But the NFL's
Should be pro.
Dream. Yeah, obviously, with having me on, you'll have seen that they do the international series.
Yeah.
So there's more and more games going abroad. So as a Niners fan, we were very excited when the international marketing team reached out and said it looks like the Niners are playing 2 international games this season coming up, because that meant they're coming to London. They've got to be coming to London.
Oh, yeah.
The last time they came to London was 2013, and I've said before in this podcast, I'd only been watching the sport less than a year. Couldn't justify the outlay and having a new child and all the rest of it. The disappointing for the Niners fans in the UK is when the season starts in September, week 1, they're sending the Niners to Melbourne in Australia to play the Los Angeles Rams, which the Niners head coach Kyle Shanahan is absolutely livid about. And if you just Google YouTube Kyle Shanahan's reaction, he hasn't been shy in saying that he does not want to play in Australia because of the time difference. So that's week 1. And I think week 11, they're sending the team to Mexico. Now, I've got nothing against the Australian fans or the Mexican fans. The one in Mexico will be awesome because they've played there before. But as a UK content creator, our dream is when the Niners come to London, what we are going to do is go to London for a week and hopefully, as you've said, link up with the team and really ram home we're the UK fans, we're the content creators. But it's not going to happen for a few years now, Dan.
No.
Because they've established the market in England, and when you look at what the international series games are in London, the matchups sell out. And now I'm saying this, you'll say, it's like a fan festival game. So do you know, like when they do the rugby league, there's some at Sevens at Newcastle, and they'll play multiple teams on one day, and you'll look at St James's Park, and there's like 20 different fans in the stadium. At London, at an international series game, if the Philadelphia Eagles are playing the Jacksonville Jaguars, it isn't just home and away fans. You will have 32 jerseys of different teams.
All different.
All of them. And it's like it's a festival of fun. It's football. You don't get it in this country. But what they're doing quite cleverly now, they're having games in Germany, they're having games in Brazil, they're having games in Spain, they're having games in Paris. But because they're new markets, they are sending, for example, like you said, Manchester United versus Man City. That's going to Brazil. Arsenal, Chelsea, it's going to Germany. Oh, England, you sell out. We'll send you Everton, Fulham. So there's a lot of people now who are in the UK, myself included. It's probably cheaper to go to the States.
Is it?
And you get the experience. Like my first NFL game was at the 49ers Stadium. It was unbelievable. I still have goosebumps now thinking I'm stood there, an idiot from the northeast of England, 5,000 miles away, watching this game of American football in Santa Clara. Like,
beautiful.
It just doesn't happen, Yeah.
No.
But I'd rather do that once every 5 years than go to London every year to watch teams that are not my team. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
No, it makes a lot of sense. It does make a lot of sense. If just from somebody that's inside of this world, what do you think the 49ers should do to grow their audience worldwide, or certainly in the UK?
I mean, they've got the links with us. They've got the marketing rights in Dubai, so that they're investing heavily.
But I mean, is there something that you believe they should be doing that they're not doing?
I mean, personally, I think they should send the team over. We got the UK marketing rights in 2022. I think the next step would be, as you've said all along, Lionel Messi's gone to play for Inter Miami. I hazard a guess the day he leaves, their fan base decreases. But at the moment, fans seeing him live, and even that, if the Niners came to London for a week, they're going to send us down, and you're going to meet the players. But the NFL knows better than me. It's $1 billion organisation, and it's growing from strength to strength, as you said, internationally. I mean, I went to Bridlington on Monday, 30-degree temperature. Tracy loves the sun. We went down to Bridlington, first time I've ever been, and I spotted 15, 20 NFL jerseys dotted about.
Did you really?
Yeah. Obviously, having a little look and having a bit of... And again, sometimes it can be a fashion thing because, you have your Boston Celtics jersey. I'm not a massive NBA fan, as in I like to watch it on the telly. Don't know the rules. I've got multiple NBA jerseys. I wear them when it's hot. So I had a jersey on Monday, which wasn't a team I support. So if you bumped into me and started chatting to me about it, I'm like, it's a fashion thing, mate. So you've got to be careful with that because that's creeping in as well with obviously Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. So sometimes you see someone rocking NFL gear, you're not 100% sure whether is it a fashion choice. But I am noticing more and more jerseys, and you're probably the same now. You probably look out for if you see someone in a Niners logo. Double look and think, is that Paul?
Yeah. No, I mean, look, I didn't know the team before. Now I do. And now it's SF in it. That's what the badge is. I now know that badge. Yeah. But yeah, no, I know you sort of sat on the fence a little bit there, Paul, with the what you think they should do, which I understand because you want to, you don't want to start slating them. I get it.
Kind of. I mean, the team are open to criticism. So one of the things, if you watch our content, we are more positive. So you'll be aware of the term clickbait.
Yes.
So there's a particular content creator in America who covers the 49ers, who hates the 49ers. He's not a 49ers fan.
What's he covering for then?
Clickbait, engagement. He's controversial.
Right.
He always says things that engage. But when we started our content creating, we wanted to kind of be a bit more positive. Now, that doesn't mean if the Niners get beat 13-3 by the Seattle Seahawks, we're going to go on our podcast and say, oh, by the way, everyone, life is rosy in the garden. But we'll try and look at it objectively. So, yeah, answering your question, I did sit on the fence, which when Lee watches, he'll laugh because apparently that's something that I do. But I am conscious of the relationship we've built, and I think of where we were pre-2022. If you went back and said, all right, Paul, you're going to be having regular meetings with the 49ers, they're going to be flying members of your group out to the United States and paying for them, and they're going to let you host a watch party. And literally, Dan, they didn't give us any script to read. They were literally like, there's the keys to the car, off you go. And they were just amazed at the passion, the energy. So I think from our point of view, circling back, if the NFL decides, right, tomorrow they've announced a team in London, as you said, London, Arsenal or Manchester United, you were saying, I wouldn't go and support that team.
No.
I'm too heavily invested in my Niners.
You are now,
Yeah.
So
too deep.
And I think if you had, there's 32 teams in the NFL. I think if you had a Philadelphia Eagles fan here, he would say exactly the same. Kansas City Chiefs fan, that no one's going to leave that affiliation, but then they don't need to target me then, do they? They need to target you. So you would be ideal. They would be. You don't have any skin in the game. So if they suddenly put an NFL team in Manchester and it was something you were interested in, they'd be more better suited to targeting you than me.
Right.
So from a Niners point of view, they look at what we've done and they think, we don't really need to do anything else with them lot, but they need to support us to grow. And the difficulty we have with my team being a West Coast team, so the schedule got released 2 weeks ago. So in September, we have NFL season starts. The Niners have 2 6:00 games out of 18.
Right.
We have 5 primetime games, which are 1 a.m. Sorry, Tracy.
Do you ever kick yourself and think, why did I pick a West Coast team? Why didn't I pick an East Coast team at the beginning?
Well, my mate Ryan supports the Tennessee Titans, and they have 12 6:00 games.
Of course they do.
And he was raging in the group chat because he has 1 late game.
Right.
But then I don't know, because the niche side of it, the late games are good fun. You're at home, you're trying to be quiet because she's upstairs. You're on the phone, and there's that kind of camaraderie, and that's helped grow our group as well, the social media side. But so there's only going to be 1 date in October where we're going to be able to have a watch party, really.
Really?
So...
What are you saying, Ron? Have you ever been a fan of this? Never watched it? Do you know the rules?
Not specifically. I know a bit about it. I have a stepsister, her husband. They both live over in the States now. They're Chiefs fans because he lives in Kansas. So I know he's spoken to me a bit about it because I was telling him about football. He does not on the level of what you do, but he does sort of the same thing for Newcastle and Kansas.
You mentioned that last time I was here.
Yeah, so he sort of does watch parties and people come down, all the Newcastle tops and everything, and watch the games.
In the States?
In the States, yeah.
Huh.
So, but nowhere near the level of Paul do it. But he was explaining to me a little bit about it, and he mentioned how technically college football is almost on the same level as it, because it's
college football's probably bigger. So in the States, you've got 32 NFL teams.
Yeah.
You can imagine how big America is. But college football, and when you start delving in the NFL and you start watching, the American sitcoms, you'll notice things like Michigan versus Ohio State. That's like your Manchester United versus your Liverpool. And what will happen is you might have gone to school as a Michigan State, you might have played college football you then stay watching college football on a Saturday and you want your kids to go to Michigan State, where if I'm an Ohio State fan, we've got that natural rivalry. And college football is on a Saturday, it's on an afternoon. So yes, Tracy, I'm not allowed to watch that because it's on the Sunday. But college football is massive. So when we were in the States, we went to Stanford versus Cal Bears, which was like a massive local rivalry.
Don't some of them college ones have like nearly the same sort of audience as a normal match?
Yeah, they've got bigger stadiums.
Yeah, the stadiums are humongous over there, mate.
College football.
So what they're doing is college football started to take a leaf out of the NFL. So they had a game in Ireland last year.
Yeah.
They've got a game in Ireland this year. And I think they've got a game at Wembley. So college football's getting bigger and the rules are slightly different. So the reason the NFL and college football is linked is you finish college, then you go into the NFL draft.
Yeah.
And then that's how you get into. So like, I think it's, if you look at the numbers, it's something ridiculous. Like the top 10% of athletes in America will go and play college football. Then the top 1% of those athletes go on to the NFL. So there's only 32 teams. But the question you asked Ron, if he was going to get into the NFL, being a Chiefs fan, I can see why people go down that route. Because you mentioned Messi. The Chiefs have had Travis Kelce, they've had Patrick Mahomes.
I don't know a lot about it, but I know the Chiefs have done very well over the past, say, 5 years.
So think of the Barcelona team a couple of years ago. When Man United went to Wembley in the Champions League and Barcelona ripped them a new one and won, was it 3-1 in the Champions League with Pep and all that?
Oh, yeah.
The Niners have played the Chiefs twice in the Super Bowl in my fandom. That's like playing the Barcelonas. So that's another thing Niners fans get a little bit irritated at, because when you look at our journey, we faced possibly one of the best teams of the decade twice and come short in the biggest game. And then you look at this year, the Super Bowl, Seahawks versus the Patriots wasn't a great game to watch. So if you decided, Paul's talked about this game, if you went to watch that game, it wasn't a great game for the neutral. The Seahawks won easily.
49ers did win the Super Bowl, right?
We've never won it in my time. So we have won it 5 times.
You've been in the final.
But so I started watching in 2012. We've lost 3 Super Bowl finals in my fandom.
Chew. What a chew.
The first one, we had our local watch party in Newcastle. We got beat by the Chiefs and we were winning all the way till the 4th quarter. And the lights came on at 5 in the morning in Newcastle. I remember just thinking, Tracy's first watch party, not that she's a jinx. Then we went again a couple of years later and we had it at... so my first one through was the Ravens. That was why I watched that one at home. Then we had the Chiefs. And then the last one was the Chiefs again, but that's when we had it at Leeds United. There was 500 people from all around the UK. Again, party atmosphere, Sky Sports are watching. That one was a more entertaining game, as in it was close and it went to overtime. But we ultimately lost.
Where would they, if you could give me a comparison for somebody who doesn't understand, that league very much. This year, we'll just talk about this year. Arsenal won the league in the UK this year. So they are officially the best team in the UK, right? You had Manchester United that finished in 3rd. You had Newcastle that finished in the basement somewhere.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in the rank would the San Francisco 49ers be? Are they the best? Are they the 3rd best, 5th best?
I would say at the moment we're in the top 10. So what happens in the NFL...
Just like Brighton.
You're in... I'd say we're better than that, but I'm going to explain. So we have divisions in the NFL. So the 49ers are in the NFC West.
Yeah.
So there's 4 teams now division. The Seattle Seahawks.
There's only 4?
Yeah.
In your division?
In your division, yeah. I know you were going to get confused by this.
4 people, 4 teams.
The NFL has 32 teams split into 2. So you've got the AFC, which has 16 teams, and you've got the NFC, which the Niners are in, which has 16 teams. So the NFC has the NFC West, South, and there's 4 teams in. And what happens is, so our main rivals, Seattle Seahawks, Los Angeles Rams, there's us, and then there's Arizona Cardinals. So every year we play them teams twice. And then what the NFL does, which is quite good, is each year you'll get a different set of opponents. So you move it around. So, a bit like in the Premier League, when the schedule comes out, you don't quite know when Newcastle's going to play Sunderland until the fixtures come out. So last year, the NFC West, out of the last 4 teams in running the Super Bowl, the NFC West had 3, which is unheard of.
Right.
So we are unlucky at the moment that we're in the toughest division in football. So in the NFL, if you win your division, you automatically get in the playoffs. And then because of the way they've done the kind of scheduling now, the best team in the NFC gets a bye in week 1 of the playoffs, the best team in the AFC. So last year, the Niners went into our last home game of the season against the Seahawks. Whoever won that was the number 1 seed. So when you said, how are you Brighton? I suppose from a Premier League point of view, we're probably in that top 5. We're in the Champions League spots.
Right.
And we just need a little bit more luck. Our window's closing. We're an older team. We've had some injuries. But officially, as it stands at the moment, the Seahawks are probably the best in the NFL. The Rams are probably people's second. And I would say we're third in my eyes. But then you have to add in what other teams have done. And so I'm confident heading into this season, which I always am.
Knowing what I would say like an Aston Villa.
Like an Aston Villa?
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So that's how I would put it. Like
Drafted well.
Yeah, like do all right in competitions, you know, get up there, always fighting for the top spots.
But just falling short often.
You've got to remember, in the NFL as well, there's only one winner.
Yep.
So you don't have your FA Cup, you don't have your League Cup, you don't have your Champions League, they don't have relegation, they don't have promotion. And so what they do well with the draft season is there's 32 teams. The team that's the worst in the NFL, ahead of the new season, they get first pick in the draft. So they get to pick the best out of the new talent coming through. And I've talked before in the show about the salary cap. So, you know, obviously there's the 115 charges, over Man City. The NFL has a salary cap. So each team has the same amount of money.
Really?
So if you decide you want to, pay Lionel Messi £100 million a year, that's so be you. But there's only so much money. But then there's things you can do with a salary cap, and you can stretch it over years, and you can void contracts, and you can trade. And so the Niners have what people have called in their Super Bowl window. So we've got a few players that are getting older in football terms, and a few injuries. But we're one of the better franchises. I mean, Shanahan's been in charge for 10 years now, Dan. And 10 years ago, the Niners were terrible.
Really?
Like, we had like a 2-14 season. And what Shanahan said was, if you give me time, I will make your team competitive. So in the 10 years he's been in charge, we've pretty much been in the playoffs pretty much every year. We've either been in the Super Bowl or at the NFC Championship game, which is at the semi-final. So.
The draft is where it gets confusing to me. Because the fact that you can trade picks and all this, that and the other with other teams to get, like, you can trade practically anything when it comes to the draft.
So the
like
Niners...
you can even trade picks the year after and stuff like that. And
what's a pick?
So
like your first pick of the draft,
right?
Your second pick of the draft, that sort of thing. You can trade that to another team,
right?
And like you get something else in return.
So college football, the players finish each year. The 200 players declare for the NFL. In April, the NFL teams all meet up and you have a draft, and they have like 7 rounds. So you get like a first round draft pick, a second round draft pick, third round draft pick. So if you're the best team in the NFL, you're picking 32nd in round 1. And as Ron's saying, you can decide to trade away picks. So a couple of years ago, all the non-Niners fans are going to laugh. I can't believe I've come on a podcast and I'm going to talk about Trey Lance. So in 2021, the Niners had a quarterback called Jimmy Garoppolo. He wasn't quite at the level that Shanahan wanted. Quarterback is the most important position for your team. You know, if you've got a Patrick Mahomes, you're settled. So the Niners weren't in the draft, as in, picking at the top end of the draft. And college quarterbacks come at a premium. So if you Google Trey Lance draft year, I can't remember the year it said it'll come up. So there was a couple of quarterbacks in that. There was Trevor Lawrence, he was going number 1. The Jags were picking him. There was Trey Lance, there was Justin Fields, there was Zach Wilson. So the Niners traded up, Dan. So the Niners rang the Miami Dolphins and said, we quite fancy the 3rd pick in this year's draft. What would you like for that? And the Miami Dolphins went, right, we'll have this year's first round draft. So we swapped picks. So we were picking at 12. So they got our 12, we got their 3. And then they got 2 more first round drafts. So they got the year after and the year after that. We were thinking, we've got Trey Lance, we've got our quarterback, and if you get a rookie quarterback on a rookie contract, you get him for 5 years, and you're not paying him the Lionel Messi money.
Right.
The sad thing for Trey Lance is, as much as we wanted him to be the quarterback, it didn't pan out. He didn't play very well.
Wasn't that good?
We were stuck, because then the next couple of years, we didn't have a first-round draft. So Brock Purdy is our quarterback now. The year after we traded for Trey Lance, we went into the next year of the NFL draft, and the last pick of the draft is called Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant.
So I think it's pick 252. You go up on the stage, you get your jersey. The Niners picked Brock Purdy last in the next year's draft. And when we first drafted him, a lot of people were like, why are we drafting another quarterback? So then he went into camp, and then we had Trey Lance, there was Jimmy Garoppolo, there was Brock Purdy. And then in the NFL, the pre-season games are very much like people like me and you might have been on the bubble for a roster spot where we're going to play like it's a World Cup final. Your Lionel Messi's, they're not playing. They're secured on the spot.
Yeah.
And Brock Purdy played this one game, Dan, and he looked bloody good. And we were all like, we might have just got our quarterback of the future. So the reason I mention that now, if you Google Brock Purdy signed a new deal last year,
What an American name, Brock, isn't it?
So a lot of the content that we create the last few years as Niners fans, this time of the year, would be talking about what do the Niners need to do to compete for the Super Bowl, Is Brock Purdy the man to lead you? And so when a lot of English fans say to you, oh, you've got Paul Ope on in May talking about the NFL, why are you talking now? This is the season now where there's all the speculation. Like, Premier League season just finished, Arsenal won the league, and I'm sure all the other 19 teams in the Premier League now are sitting there and thinking, what can we do to get what they are last year? So it doesn't stop, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, for your fans watching, Man City are in that transition period now where Guardiola's left. What's going to happen next?
Yeah.
So there's lots to talk about in that regard. We're the same with the NFL. For the Niners, seeing your biggest rivals win the Super Bowl in your stadium. I always explain to lads at work, it's like Liverpool marching to Old Trafford and winning the Champions League. And Manchester United fans having to see Liverpool dancing around Old Trafford with a trophy. Or vice versa. Manchester United win it. Do you see what I mean? That's what's happened to us this year. And we did go out and watch it. We did an old-fashioned hate watch. So the 49ers for UK went up to Newcastle. There was 20 of us on a table. NFL fans looking around saying, you do realise you aren't in the final. But I always got to watch the Super Bowl, Dan. And on the table next to us in Louis' Liquor Bar in Newcastle, there was a Seahawks fan. A bit of light-hearted banter. But you don't get that hatred that you see in English football or Scottish football.
Not even in America?
You do in America, but you don't over here.
Right. So do they have like football hooliganism over there?
They do have, if you Google it, there's people fighting in the stands. I mean,
really?
Yeah, it's.
American
I see it more
football.
at baseball. I see it more, but there is people who fight in the stands at the NFL.
I'll tell you which one's like a bad sport, like in terms of the players. Like ice hockey is dangerous.
Oh yeah, you're allowed to fight in that sport, right?
Yeah, you just see people getting sparked out left, right, and well, not sparked out, but absolutely sent into a wall just for the crack.
What's the biggest sport in the United States?
Oh, easy got to be American football.
Is it?
Surely.
Or is it basketball?
NFL, NBA.
Oh yeah, the NBA.
Then the MLB, then the NHL. So they're like.
Google that, Ron. What's the biggest sport in America officially? I want to know that.
I think what's good with America, when you look at the way they do their sporting system, so like at the moment, I'm rocking a San Francisco Giants hat because it's baseball season. Don't profess to know anything about baseball, but I went to the stadium tour when I was in San Francisco, and some of the Niners players rock Giants gear. So I've told you before, I like to kind of imitate my heroes a little bit on there. So at the moment, it's Major League Basketball season, and I think the NBA finals are coming up. But what the Americans have done quite well, they have their sporting seasons. So like now, obviously, as an English football fan, you're excited for the World Cup because Premier League's finished. You've got the World Cup. So in America, they kind of have the NFL season. Then obviously the basketball season kind of starts the same time as that, and then that finishes. Then do you see what I mean? There's other sports going a long time.
Yeah. So these have got it. Well, Google AI overview has got it as American football first, the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, the NHL. Literally the exact order Paul put it. So,
do you think they look at baseball the same way we look at cricket? Right, it's a very old traditional sport in that country.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I think a lot of people admire baseball more than what I think Americans admire baseball more than how we admire cricket.
Can I be honest? If I was dropped in America now,
Yeah,
you said, right, you're going to live here now forever. Well, I do like sport, and this is in this realm of like that isn't real, but in this like pretend realm. I wasn't allowed to like anything else. I had to like an American sport. I'd go baseball, actually. That's where I think I would feel more comfortable.
we got around us like.
I wouldn't say good particularly. If I was going to play any of the sports, I mean, I think baseball would probably be the least dangerous, right?
And they get lots of money. I mean, as I said, when we went to San Francisco, my friend Connor booked the stadium tour, the Giants stadium, and not knowing much about baseball, it was awesome. The guy was an old retired, San Francisco Giants super fan. He walked around the stadium, and by the end of that tour, I wanted to get a bat and swing it back for the San Francisco Giants. And I always thought, I want to go and watch a game there. And the experience of watching a game there, it's a bit more relaxed, especially for English fans. You can go over there, have a beer in the stands.
It's a slow game, though, isn't it?
It's a slow game, yeah.
Like cricket. That's why I'm saying, is it a bit like cricket? Cricket can go on all day, can't it?
And the thing with baseball as well, there's so many games in the season. So
Is there?
what I'm finding, like I told you before, I work at the council. So there's a couple of lads now who are starting to watch American sports.
Right.
So one lad's really into his baseball, and he's picked a team which is technically a rival, the Giants. And he tries to give me a bit of banter, and I always say to him, the Giants win, I'll send you a GIF. I'll have a little bit of banter on Twitter. If they lose, no skin off my nose. There's that many games. I'm not a super fan. And similar with the basketball, I know the finals are coming up, but when I went to the Golden State Warriors game, Dan, that would be a bit of you. You would love that.
Why
the
so?
basketball game. The spectacle. We've talked before on the show about the way the Americans do sport. You're in the stand and you had the big jumbotron and the players will come and run out. Have you seen The Last Dance on Netflix? Mm-hmm. When Michael Jordan runs out and everyone's like dabbing hands and the lights going on. They do that for every game. And I don't know, I just, as an Englishman, stood there and seeing how proud we were of the country, and then, they sing the anthem. And then this game started and it was just 100 mile an hour. I didn't have a clue what was going on, but it was 90 minutes of just madness, or an hour of the game. It was class.
90 minutes of squeaking shoes.
And running around, but you're in the stand, and obviously you have a bit of break.
Do they play that long? Is it an hour
Is
and
it
a half?
an hour basketball, I think? They do 4 quarters, don't they?
Yeah,
It goes
I know it's
quite
4
quick.
quarters.
Right. I have no idea.
And again, I think, circling back, because we always go down the rabbit holes, what I think the Americans do well with the sport, their Last Dance, most people in lockdown watch The Last Dance on Netflix. Most people know Michael Jordan is. Mm-hmm. You go to the Olympics, the Americans always put the dream team in. Steph Curry, LeBron James won the Olympics in Paris recently, and there was a documentary on Netflix. I do love a good sports documentary.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched a couple recently, but in English sports, I watched the Jamie Vardy one that came out not long ago.
I wanted to watch that.
And then
Interesting guy.
I've seen another one. It was about the Champions League final. Liverpool.
The Liverpool one, yeah.
Yeah,
I've added that.
cried.
I've added that one to my list because I said last time I was a Liverpool fan back in the day. And it's funny because you circle back, preparing for today, and you think, what are we going to talk about? Said to you last time they've been promoted, got a new boss. He's someone that I knew 20 years ago when I played football. And I was at work the other day, and one of the lads said, never told us you played footy. And I was like, didn't really think it was a thing. But my new boss had been talking about the glory days, when we played, and I was a decent player. And you think, sorry, it's good to hear that.
Yeah.
And, you talked on one of your shows recently, and you mentioned Netflix about the Shall I Marry a Murderer?
Yeah.
Who?
The Shall I Marry a Murderer?
The Scottish one, where the two lads.
the
is
Lock
that a
Estate.
name?
No, that's the name of the show. Should I marry a murderer?
Oh, yeah. I was thinking, shall I? Who shall I?
Sorry, that's just me talking too fast. I need to, when I get excited. But the reason I circled back to that, when I watched that show, me and Tracy had watched that. And we always like stuff like that on Netflix because we met online.
Did you?
We met on an online dating profile, but there was that one, and then you'll have to Google it because I can't remember the name of it. But after we watched that one on Netflix, there's another one about a lad in Scotland who, something to do with Tinder, and he was ripping off a load of women in Scotland, but it was linked into that. And I thought, you like a good recommendation for a binge watch.
Love them. I'm banging to anything that's...
Documentary.
Yeah, it was on Netflix. It's something to do with... It's not the Tinder swindler, because everyone knew about that, but it was a lad in Scotland, and basically he was a good-looking lad, and he was basically ripping off a load of women. And how it came about, one lass got ripped off and she didn't let it lie.
Right.
And she basically contacted a journalist, and the journalist vowed to expose this lad. So he gave the victim her money back, but the journalist still ran the story. And then as per, it opened up the floodgates. So basically, he set up his dating profile, good looking lad. He was matching. And then basically he was taking them on a date and he was splashing the cash. They were thinking, oh, he's loaded. And then a couple of days later, he'd be like, oh, my business account's been frozen. I'm good for it, but can you just, we're going to book that holiday. Can you just bank transfer us $2,000? So they were transferring him the money, and then he was like, see you later.
Yeah.
And I think they'd found out that he'd, I can't remember the name of it now, but it's definitely on Netflix.
You're not talking about the Tinder swindler, are you?
No, it was similar to that. but he was.
I've watched that one.
He was. So it wasn't at the level where he was jet setting around the Tinder swindler, but it was. But he got about £300,000 over 10 years off all these women.
Jesus Christ. Just scamming them.
Just scamming them. And it always made me think when I watch it, Dan, like, you talk about social media and, like, how could you get away with something like that now?
Lonely, vulnerable people. I mean, you couldn't get away with it, but you could see how you could do it because, you know, without sounding too awful, there's people out there that maybe don't value themselves very high and, you know, maybe think no one would be interested in them. And if you've got an eye for it and you know what sort of person to identify and sort of go down that rabbit hole, you can see how some poor girl...
That's it there, top one.
Catching the Tinder predator.
That's him, that's it. It's worth a watch, it's an hour and 20. I've pretty much given away the storyline. However, it was... Because I know when I've said before, I don't just come on your show and tip the nod that, oh, I watch it. I do watch the episodes and I am sat at home and I am chuckling. And when you talked about that, shall I marry a murderer? I mean, you sat watching it and you think, Jesus Christ.
Mental, that, innit? Yeah. Proper mental.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a load of them, isn't there? Like, what would you say is the best ever Netflix documentary you've ever watched? I'm going to go first.
Jesus.
Mine is Making a Murderer with that Stephen guy.
Ah, you love that one.
That's the one. I think it was one of the first ones I ever watched. So I started off on a very high sort of level. But there's been lots of great ones, but I think that was probably the one that really got me engrossed, where I still talk about it today.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the other ones, I don't still talk about it. But like I still have conversations with people like, did he do it? Did he not do it? And it's up for debate, you know?
I've said before, Tracy does love a good crime documentary, and you two talked about that American rapper. I don't profess to know about it.
Who?
Kaylee.
David.
David, him.
So I get my updates via TikTok through Kaylee.
Right.
Kaylee is as obsessed about it as you.
Right,
I'd love her to have a chat with you about it.
Yeah.
But I haven't known too much about that, but we watch a lot of them on there. I wouldn't say the best one I've watched was that one, but we watched another one where there was an American teenager and she crashed a car.
Huh.
I don't know if you've seen that one.
I haven't watched it yet, but he has watched it.
We watched that one the other night, and we do tend to like the American stuff, but again on Netflix there's one called Murder Suspect, which is the BBC version of British Police. And then if you go onto BBC iPlayer, because there is more out there, people, than just Netflix, there's the True Crime CSI, and they're both linked on there. So I think it come up on there on as Channel 5, but we watched it on Netflix. That's the right one, because that's the first episode. It was pretty brutal about the axe attack. So I always do say, Dan, to Tracy, she's the most timid, sweetest, loveliest person you could ever meet. But if you give her the remote control and tell her to put something on the telly, she's putting something like this on. So I don't know whether I should be scared at some point.
Yeah, it is something to keep an eye on, that, isn't it, Paul? I think probably it's the quiet ones you want to watch out for.
Yeah.
You know?
But I think going back to like the first time you met me and I rocked up here, full NFL gear, I had my notepad, it was all American football. And even today, I didn't think we were going to talk as much as American football. But I do have other layers to me. And it's why I like doing the people like us and stuff like this. Like you said, you go into work, don't you? And you talk about it like that one there. We love that one. That you
The
talk
crash.
About. No, the one you're...
Making a Murderer.
We were...
Yeah, I think it's the best. I think if you asked Google now, what is the best ever crime documentary on Netflix, I bet Making a Murderer would come up in the top 3.
We just...
Run.
They come up on your, when you go up on your feed and they just totally, you watch one, so then they all come up. So they all merge into, because we literally just go through all of them, Dan. We love watching some of them, definitely.
Ron, search, don't search for Making a Murderer. Search for best murder documentaries on Netflix. Let's have a look at that. Text anybody interesting, Ron?
No, mate, I was trying to find the name of the documentary, what I've seen on Netflix, but I can't find it.
And again, you've transitioned to nowadays, now he's Googling for stuff like that, like the Mendes brothers. That was crazy.
That was pretty good, like.
And you go into work now, and that's the conversations we have at work. We'll be like, oh, did you watch that crime documentary? Oh, no, and then you pass it on. And I think Netflix has definitely opened up that side of how we kind of absorb content, because sometimes Tracy will say to me, Dan, I don't want to watch a movie tonight, Paul. And I'm like, oh. and then we'll put a crime documentary on, and we get that, into it. We'll watch 6 episodes. I'm like, didn't want to watch a movie tonight.
That's the only problem. It sucks you in, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's Making a Murderer there, bottom right.
That's the one I like, the John Wayne Gacy tapes.
He's nuts.
He's fucking mental in, mate.
That he's one of the scariest people I've ever like heard of before.
Yeah.
How he was walking around in plain sight and sticking them under his patio and shit like that. Like, mate, he was nasty bastard him. And that's what he was similar to that Tinder guy really, but a lot worse.
Yeah.
He was preying on vulnerable people. He knew where to find these lost souls, basically. These people getting off these buses, young lads, 15, 16, 17, haven't got a pot to piss in, probably, from a broken home, whatever. He had an eye for it. He knew exactly how to find them. And, he fucked them up, pardon my language. He was a dirty, 19 of them or something like that? It wasn't like, he didn't just have half a dozen, I don't think. He was in the teens, I think.
Like almost 20s.
Yeah, that's, imagine. Imagine.
I mean, obviously the job that I do, like yesterday, it was on the council's Facebook page, but they had like a community safety awareness day on Redall yesterday. So, we were there from housing, the police were there, and you're chatting to the police officers and some of the stuff that they're telling you about in their day-to-day stuff. So a big thing in Darlington at the moment, which it's not as bad as that, is the off-road bikers, the quad bikers. And I don't know if you saw there'd been a pretty serious crash up on Tornado Way.
I've heard.
Which is just outside of Redall, basically a quad biker. And obviously where I live in Martin, we live near James Cook and Stewart's Park. And when I take the dog for a walk on a night, the amount of young lads I see flying down, the trail bikes you were talking about, the balaclavas, and I know that they're thinking they're being cool and stuff, but without a helmet on, do you know what I mean? And Councillor Porter, who was at the event yesterday, she was saying to us that basically when you ride a quad bike, apparently you don't need to have a helmet on.
Nope. Legally, no.
And what was eerie, you're talking about stuff like that, like for me, I'd been on Redall on the Thursday, because before my new job, I'm being out on the estate a bit more, and it isn't just an enforcement side of what I do. Part of it is trying to help people. Like literally the next day, there'd been a massive crash at where I'd been, and
is he didn't die though, did he?
No, he's in hospital at the moment, but talking to the 2 police officers yesterday, and obviously one of them was first on the scene, and you think, I think I have a bad day at work sometimes, and I said desensitised. The reason I was going down this path is because you were talking about all those like murder documentaries and the people walking among us, and you think, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I like the quad bikers. For what it's worth, I like them. Yeah, I like them because they irritate people. They don't irritate me, but I like them because of the people that are irritated by them. I said this before. It's one of the few things. It's like a slipped through the net like law. Like in today's world, you can't say boo to a goose. Like in today's world, it's so you can't say this, you can't be sexist, you can't be like there's just so many rules that you can't say this on social media, whatever. Like driving, exactly. Everything's just rule. But I feel like the quad bike thing is slipped through the net.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like you can tear ass round on this very loud, very aggressive sounding machine with no helmet on, with a balaclava on, a bloody camo jacket on. Do you know what I mean? Like, you look imposing, you look menacing. Do you know what I mean? And I like it because I see him going around the streets, and I see people tutting and things like this. I like that.
I suppose for me, being a dad and the girls and stuff, and Kaylee's year in driving, she's got a little super Corsa, and she's at that cute age now where she's, every time you talk to her, she's buying an Audi or she's buying a Mercedes, and she's saving up, and obviously trying to teach them safety first. I think being a dad, I always see them flying down the street, and I think, just put a helmet on. Just put a helmet on. But I know what you mean, and obviously, like doing the job I do, when you're out on your estate, you've got your council jacket on. People do approach you, and I'm one of those people that people do approach, and the residents will maybe, I don't think they're complaining, as in what you're saying, in the morning, but it might be, it was a red hot day on Monday, the kids were playing on the field, and they've come tearing across, and there was that lad in Sunderland, wasn't there, on the electric scooter, crashed into the 82-year-old lady, and then he drove off, and she was crossing the road, and you've said before, you saw me last time I was here, marching to town hall, got my headphones in, totally oblivious. How many of us are zoned out when we're walking about now?
Everybody is. So Do you have them up your way, Ron? Do the quad bikers up your way?
I've had them for years, yeah.
Just flying about the streets up your way.
The worst ones are electric scooters now. Everyone's got one of them.
Because they're silent.
Yeah.
They make you shit yourself. You don't even hear it coming. You can be walking down the street and just whizzes past
and
you.
they're super fast now. I mean, I said Jasmine's going to be 16 in July. And I remember when I first met Tracy, like 2018, Jasmine wanted an electric scooter. And Tracy was like, you're not getting a fast one. And then we got a one, and it wasn't a fast one. So as you can imagine what kids are like, they want a fast one. And you're right. I mean, I don't see them too much where we are, but...
There's a few where I see flying up and down the street. Like I've been cut off on the road by some of them before. Like slam my brakes on. And it's like, you have a death wish or something. But they just have no care. But like they can go 20 mile an hour through villages, which is what some people drive at through villages. So
yeah, it does puzzle me sometimes because some of these bikes, I'm assuming that people are tweaking them themselves and making them faster than they're allowed to be.
There are some that you can get like electric bikes, like not like a motor, but like a pedal bike.
Is there an age restriction to riding them? Like a lot?
I'm not sure.
Because I'm sure I've seen like 11, 10-year-old looking boys doing 30 mile an hour down the road on one, and like it's basically, so you've basically got like what you used to need to be 17.
I think you were saying before, like I don't think the laws have caught up.
No,
similar to what Ron was saying there. Again, I used to love going out on my bike, teenage, meet up with the pals, be pedaling out. No wonder I was super fit because I was cycling everywhere. And I saw two lads fly past me the other day, and I was like, they're just electric bikes. They're not even pedaling.
Sad that,
like, that's what we seen. I was on my way to Fiverside, like going through Sunderland. And this lad on an electric bike, he was like just 8, just like legs, like not even doing anything on the pedals, just holding on. He's just flying up this bank, like in a bus lane. And I'm like, why?
Mad, isn't it?
Yeah. And the last time I was here, before we finish off, you did not like parmesans, and you've been converted. And I was like, yes. And you went to the ship in. I was like, yes.
Hang on, whoa, have I missed something? What's happened?
So last time I was here,
I don't think I necessarily didn't like them.
We were talking parmesans. Well, I rewatched the show.
Did I say I didn't
And Dan
like
asked you the question, and you were like, not a fan. Don't get the hype. And then I can't remember what episode it was recently, but you'd been to the ship in.
Yeah.
And he'd pulled out his map of Parmos, which is like, if you're going to go somewhere to try a Parmo.
The ship in's where you go.
But the reason I circle back to that, because Trish like, don't talk Parmos again.
What do you mean, don't talk Parmos?
You know Sliceburg, that's in Darlington.
Do I? Yeah.
Right? There was one in Middlesbrough. So
Same company?
Yes. So the other Saturday, Tracy was like, I'll pick the food. You pick whichever crime documentary we're watching. So then I thought, I hope she's ordering Sliceburg. So about an hour in, I was like, you ordered from Sliceburg? She's like, how would you know that? And the Parmo and this massive deep dish pizza arrived. Amazing. So as much as I started out saying that we want to get better with our fitness journey, showing the snippet of maybe where we're going wrong is on a Saturday night, we're getting one of them. But I did want to kind of shout out Sliceburg, but also a run for going to the ship in.
Yeah, it was kind. Yeah, it was good.
Do you know a Parmo fan now, yeah?
I'm a fan, but I'm not like where I'll maybe have a Parmo 3-4 times a year.
I have to really fancy it, but next time you do go to the ship in, you do need to get the Parmo fries.
Parmo fries? What's going on there, Paul?
Oh, they're amazing.
Mate, I got wiped out by the medium, mate. I couldn't even finish the medium.
Well, you get a small Parmo and you get a Parmo fries. Trust me, it'll be amazing, honestly.
Man knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. Does.
How long have you been rolling run?
I've got it down just over an hour.
That's where we like it.
Exactly. That's why I thought before we finish off, we had to get the Parmo talking.
Of course we did. Paul, before we go, I just want to ask, I did want to pick your brain. Do you know, this is purely probably not good podcast, but it's my interest. What's that big fucking building they're making in the town centre? You'll know.
Yeah, so it's going to be the Department of Treasury. So you know where the town hall is at the moment?
Yeah.
Opposite the town hall, you've got that new fancy building. Before you've got the car park. Has it got the DEC on?
Yeah.
So you've got the cabinet building in there. So that's basically a few years ago they moved some of the civil servants out of London into Darlington to boost jobs and all the rest of it.
Oh, right. So they haven't transported people up here. They've just, you need
There's
to get people from
some
this
people
place.
have come. So that a big push in Darlington, you'll see at the moment that, where the train station is now and the knockdown Horgans. They're making Victoria Road nicer because they want when the dignitaries come off the train to walk down. Yeah, and that's where that fancy building is. Now, that was built pre-COVID as just office space.
Right.
It was before these plans were announced. But obviously, I know you talk politics on the show. I think it was the Conservative government that moved some of these jobs up before the last election.
Right.
And then that was only a temporary building. And what they're building now is that one next to the East End Club, the big tower, the old Sherwoods. That's going to be the permanent home of the whichever department from the government it's going to be.
So it's going to be a government building.
Yeah. So basically, I went to a presentation yesterday at work and they told us all about it. So it shows how much I absorbed of that, because it was. I know a bit about it, but I did want to say the episode that you were talking to someone about politics on. The one thing that you did get confused about, and I'm allowed to clarify this, is each member of Parliament represents. So, for example, Darlington at the moment has a Labour member of Parliament, Lola. So the people in Darlington voted Labour. She goes down to the House of Commons. Within Darlington, you have local councillors. So you might have a councillor for Mowden, a councillor for Redall, a councillor for Horton.
Right.
Can't remember how many of them there are. Again, I look terrible working for the authority. So at the moment, Darlington is a Labour-run council. So they've got the most local councils of Labour, then obviously some Conservatives. And then we have a member of Parliament for Labour. So traditionally, if you've got a Labour government and you've got a Labour member of Parliament, that looks favourably upon your town. So when the Conservatives were in charge and we had a Conservative MP, that's where all this investment came through.
Right.
And what you're seeing recently, what you've talked on your shows, there's been the local elections.
Yeah.
So in Darlington, Redall had a by-election, and I can talk about that because that's my area. So the Labour councillor resigned. They had a by-election. It wasn't for your member of Parliament. It was for your Redall councillor to sit on Darlington Borough Council's list of councillors.
Got you.
And they voted Reform.
Reform.
So then, as you were talking on the last show, like, if you go to Hartlepool, if you go to Durham, if you go to Sunderland, they're all now what are called Reform councils because they've voted Reform. But their member of Parliament isn't a Reform member of Parliament. So what they're saying is, if they replicated the local election results now, if they did a general election tomorrow, if Keir said, sod yous all, you can have a vote for who you want, they reckon that we'd become a Reform based on those figures. And that's what they're based on. Now, obviously, as I've said before, I worked for the council 20 years. I've seen different parties in charge. And being boots on the ground, for want of a better word, I don't see too much difference at the moment. So, like the Reform councillor at Redall, I haven't met him yet. I've heard some good stuff. I've heard some mixed reviews. But in my day-to-day job, it doesn't impact on what I'm doing. Does that make sense?
No.
So I know you've talked about it a lot on... I can't remember who you had on the show, but you've talked a bit about the politics. And
Might have been Chris.
Could have been Chris.
So obviously for me at the moment, the reason I can talk about that is if there's an election. So last time I was here, there was an election. I'm not allowed to talk about it because as I work for Darlington Borough Council, I'm not allowed to lean either way. And obviously I live in Middlesbrough, so it doesn't matter. But I'm like you. I don't have a political party. I'm not a member of either or.
No.
And I got into local authority, Dan, because 20 years ago, I lived on Branksome and the kids on Branksome School had nowhere to go on a night. And I entered an advert to be a volunteer to run the youth club. That's where my journey started, local authority. And then you get in the council and you think, 32 days holiday. Dan's like, shut up, Paul. Ron doesn't get that.
Yeah, we're going to have a talk later on.
The pension, the rest of it. And obviously I'm of an age now where I am thinking, hopefully thinking, right, I've got, 20 years left before I can retire. So...
Good place to be, the council. How long have you been rolling, Ron?
Hour and 7.
That'll do. Ladies and gentlemen, that's been Paul Hope.
Thank you very
Once
much.
again, thank you very, very much for watching. We do appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.